Welcome if you're new here. Welcome back if you visited with me before here on the very snowy, very cold 8th concession. My name is Natalie. Well, I sat down today to start making my shopping list, and it brought to mind a subject I kind of wanted to talk about, and that has to do with how we grocery shop. Now, here on the 8th concession, those of you who've been here before know that I'm a passionate gardener. I love growing a medium-sized garden, I'd say. I like to cook fresh from my garden. I also preserve my food. I freeze, I dry as much as I can. And I love being able to feed my family that way. But not everything can be grown here on the 8th concession, Southern Ontario, Zone 5B, where we have a short growing season and a long cold winter. So we do have to buy in items. Now, lately, I've been watching on YouTube some of my favorite channels, and a lot of them have been doing pantry tours. And I love watching them. Oh, I love seeing the shelves, the rows of home canned vegetables and fruits, and I admire it greatly because I know how much work has gone into having that much canned product on your shelves, home done, because it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. And here on the 8th concession, I and my husband still both work full-time, so I am not able to do as much canning and preserving as I'd like because I have other commitments. But these people who have the rows and rows on their shelves, I mean, they're dedicated to doing that full-time. That is a full-time job. And they often also talk about buying their pantry staples in bulk. And this is what I actually wanted to talk about. Now, I did notice that a lot of these people on YouTube tend to have very large families. So some have 8 or 10 children, some have, extended family living with them, parents or aunts and uncles or what have you. And so they're feeding a lot of people. Here on the 8th concession, my husband and I have 4 children, but our children are grown. So 2 of them live away from here, and they have their own families and partners. And 2 of my grown children live here with us for various reasons. And so I am feeding 4 adults right now on the 8th concession. Over the years of, the past many years, I had 4 children at home, so I was feeding a family of 6. And the way I tended to shop was not with the bulk food grocery shopping. And I want to explain why, and I want to give an alternative for those of you who can't or don't particularly want to buy bulk food. How can you still save money? Well, I have been saving money, and I don't buy my pantry staples in large amounts, and here's why. So first of all, if you're going to buy vast quantities of your pantry staples, and staples are things like flour, sugar, rice, beans, that sort of thing, you're going to be buying it from either a bulk food distributor who does sort of area drop-offs to multiple people who've ordered from them, or sort of wholesale shopping clubs such as Costco. I think Sam's Club is the same thing, and where you pay for the privilege of shopping in their store and buy your food in these large quantities. Now, there are a few things that I don't like about either of those scenarios, and one of them is buying in such large quantities means that you are going to have to eat through that food in a fairly timely manner, or you're going to waste it, and I hate wasting food. So here, as I said, we have a family of 4 adults that I'm feeding, and the amount of time that it would take me to go through a 25 kilogram or a 50-pound bag or a 20-pound bag of, say, sugar or beans or rice, it's going to start messing with the expiration date of that item. Now, I'm pretty flexible with expiration dates, to be honest. On dry goods, I don't follow them too intently. If I have canned goods or baking mixes that have gone over their date, I don't worry about it. I'm a little pickier with dairy. I don't like to flirt with anything like salmonella or E. coli or any of those things. So I'm pretty strict about following the expiration dates on fresh food like dairy or mayonnaise or anything like that. But other stuff, it doesn't worry me too much. So yes, you can go over the expiration date of your bulk pantry staples. However, it is a fact that once a food has been harvested or processed, from that very moment, it starts to slowly lose its nutritional value. It slowly starts to go stale. For certain items, they lose their effectiveness, like baking soda or baking powder, and eventually they can also go bad. So that takes a long time, that's true. But the bigger quantity you buy, the more pressure you have to eat through that before it starts to lose any sort of value or quality. Now, when you have a big family with 8 or 10 people, I'm sure that's not as big a deal. But when you have even 4 adults, where we're trying to watch what we eat too, we should put that out there too. It is high stress for me to look at those things in my pantry and think, oh, I've got to eat through that or it's going to go bad and I'm going to have to throw it out. So that's one problem I have with it. So another problem I have with buying bulk amounts of pantry staples is the fact that you have to eat up one type of food over a long period of time. So say you're ordering in a large box of pasta, you've picked rotini, and it's a 9 kilogram box, which is about 20 pounds, I think. And that's what you're going to have to eat before it sort of expires or goes stale. Your family's going to have to really love rotini because that's all you're getting for the foreseeable future. If you have the time and money to be able to buy multiple types of pasta at 9 kilograms each, so now you've got 60 or 80 pounds of pasta so that you have a variety of 4 different kinds. Wow, you're going to be eating a lot of pasta to eat that up in time. So I don't really like the pressure to overeat in order to use things up when you don't have a super large family. Another thing to think of is storage. Now, I do have a pantry downstairs, shelves where I store my canned goods and dry goods. I also have a very large chest freezer. And I do have a small cold cellar that came with the house that needs a little refurbishment. So I do have storage areas, but when I watch these videos where they've got, a year's worth of food stored, that takes up a lot of room. Now, we have a decent sized house here in Canada. We have, like most people, a full basement. So our food storage is actually in our basement. But it already takes up enough room, and the thought of it taking up maybe even half my basement so I can store these huge bags or bins or buckets of things, you have to take into account what you want to use the space in your house for. And if, again, using pasta as an example, you need to bring in 4 boxes so you have some variety in your pasta, you're taking up a lot of room. Now, that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. Some people are happy to do that. We have other things we want to use our basement for, and I'm not sure I want to give over even more space to the food storage I have, because for me, it's not really worth it. So if you're not going to buy in bulk, how are you going to save money? After all, everyone knows that buying in bulk saves you money. It's cheaper than buying the items in the store, right? Well, that statement is true. It's also false. What do I mean by that? Well, one other thing you should know about me is that for 30 years in the past, I worked in retail. I worked in grocery retail. So I worked in a large chain grocery store for a long time. And I did see how things worked and the whole grocery supply chain, all of it. So when people who are buying in bulk say that it is cheaper than buying retail, it is true. If you compare the price per pound or per kilogram of, say, rice, of your bulk 25 kilogram, 50 pound bag of rice, it is going to be cheaper than buying it in the store, but only if you buy it at regular price. It is not cheaper than buying items on sale, on good sales. and I know this for a fact, I've done it for 40 years. I've been in Costco's. I don't have a membership. I'm not really for the idea that I'm paying someone for the privilege of shopping in their store. And I went in with a friend, and I was kind of disappointed with the prices in there because I have a bit of a mental database of what is a good price for the types of items that we buy all the time. And as I went around, I had to do some math because, of course, the stuff in, say, Costco comes in strange quantities. But doing some math, I figured out that it was not cheaper than what I could get it for on sale. Buying things on sale is a bit of a strategy too. And it comes down to looking for loss leaders. What's a loss leader? Well, this is something I learned through my years working in the store. The really fabulous sales that stores put in their flyers, their weekly flyers, and almost every grocery store of any size has weekly flyers, weekly sales. Perhaps only the really small independent stores or corner delis don't. But the sales they put in their flyers, the ones they put on the front page where they're the really good deal, those are called loss leaders. And the name gives away their purpose. The price is so low, supposedly the store takes a bit of a loss on them. I would argue that point. Quite often the profit that the store would make, or the profit that the wholesaler would make, or the profit that the farmer or manufacturer would make, they will get together and they will say, we're going to split, the difference. We're all going to take a bit of a hit on our profit so we can really push your item this week, get your item out there, get people buying it. So it's good for the manufacturer or the farmer to have, some advertising for their product. It's also good for the store. Why would a store take a loss on a product? Although I don't really believe that they do. But why would they even reduce their profits? Because the idea is if you come to the store to get these really good sales, you're going to do more of your shopping there. You're going to buy other products at regular price and they're going to make their profit. They're going to get you in the habit of coming to their store. You're going to look around and see how nice it is, and they might get some new customers that way. It's not a bad system. There's nothing wrong with doing it, but you just have to know the game we're playing. And so looking at the loss leaders, I'm quite happy to buy them. But unfortunately, I'm not the shopper they're looking for because I don't tend to do the rest of my shopping in their store. So where do I do my shopping? Well, I shop in a somewhat unconventional way. I only buy what's on sale each week. So one week I'll buy nothing but tuna, toothpaste, soy sauce, and paper towel, let's say. And then the next week I'll buy tomato sauce and fabric softener and rice or something. And so you might say, well then what are you eating all week? Because you're not going to eat a whole week of tuna. No, I'm not. Because I am not shopping for my meal planning. I'm shopping to fill my pantry. I cook out of my pantry, and my pantry is almost always fully stocked. Let me show you. When I look online to see what's on sale, I think or check my pantry. These are my canned goods shelves here. And I see what I'm running low on. Now, over the years, I've kind of learned the rhythm of sales, and there is a pattern to them. Certain products will go on sale regularly. So the idea for me anyway is to buy the item on a really good sale and buy enough of it to last me until the next sale. And that way I almost never pay full price for anything. And that's why my grocery orders look so strange, because I'm looking to see what I'm running low on. It goes on sale. I'll buy a quantity of it, whatever we use, to get me through to the next sale. Most things will go on sale every few months. So if I have enough to get me through 2 months, say, or 3 months, perfect. And over time, you will kind of learn the rhythm of the grocery stores in your area too. What goes on sale frequently, what goes on sale not so much, what only goes on sale maybe near holiday times, and to shop accordingly. Of course, you have to check how long that item is good, the expiration date as a guideline. But other than that, doing this, you do literally save thousands. Now, of course, canning and preserving your own food from your garden is another great way to save. Here's my cold cellar where I keep my home canned goods. These are not the rows and rows of shelf full of canned like other people, and mine are running pretty low. It is now almost March here, and we've eaten up a lot of stuff, so there isn't much left. There's also some pickles in my crock and some onions. The other thing that is essential for shopping in this way is a large freezer. I like a chest freezer. Please excuse the mess. I need to do a video on reorganizing my chest freezer. You can see it's very full right now, but buying bread when it's on sale, buying bacon when it's on sale. We buy our beef by the cow. We have a butcher that my parents always used when I was growing up, and now I split a cow with my grown children who have their own families, so we buy our beef by the cow, or not by the side. We buy a whole one. Pork and chicken is actually under the bread here. I need to do a good cleanup here. Frozen potatoes, my pie shells, some croissants, some baked goods that were on sale. A chest freezer is very important, especially for sale on bread and meat. So what about my pantry staples? I didn't show it, but I actually keep my flour in the freezer. Now, a lot of people will say, put your flour in the freezer for a few days to kill off anything that might be in your flour. Remember, it's a grain that comes in from the fields. There might be little eggs or other things crushed up in it. And they say if you put it in the freezer for 3 days, that should kill all that. I just keep mine in the freezer, and then I take out enough for my canister jars upstairs to warm to room temperature and use, and then I refill. My rice is in some of the bins down here. I keep rice and pasta in these bins, and that's only because we sometimes get a mouse who decides that they would like to come in and eat from my pantry as well, so I do have to protect them in something. Pantry staples that I grow myself, like beans and peas and things like that, I keep in jars upstairs. So I have all the things I need. And that's the other great thing actually about shopping in this manner. When you're shopping to fill your pantry, not shopping to make meals, is I can make any meal I want at the drop of a hat because I have everything I need at all times. Now, of course, there are fresh fruits and vegetables that you don't store as well. And for that, again, I buy what's on sale. And typically what's on sale are things that are in season and are local, which is the best way to shop anyway. So we go through a cycle with our eating that kind of matches the seasons, which is pretty much how our grandparents and great-grandparents ate. When it's May and June, we'll have strawberries. We'll go picking strawberries. We'll make strawberry torta and strawberry shortcake and strawberry jam. I'll freeze some strawberries to use later in the year. When it's sweet corn season, we eat a lot of fresh sweet corn. If I want to, I can freeze some, but typically we eat it all. But we enjoy it while it's in season, and then we don't have it again until it's in season again. But when corn's not in season, cauliflower usually is, or cabbage, or carrots, or broccoli. So buying what's on sale will still give you that variety because it's following the seasons and it changes from week to week. So we eat a nice varied diet. And other than the fresh fruits and vegetables which change with our meals, I can cook whatever I want, whatever day. I never meal plan. I get up in the morning, I look out the window, and like today, it's cold and sort of damp. We've been flirting with, just freezing temperatures just around zero. And I thought, well, this would be a lovely day for comfort food like Hungarian goulash. And if that sounds good to you, I'll put a link in the description for the video where I make Hungarian goulash. Because I can just decide what I want to have. I have the meat in the freezer, I have the vegetables, I have the pantry staples, I have everything. And if people drop by, I don't have to worry. I just have to defrost the meat, and thanks to microwaves, even that's not an issue. So, my brother and his wife drop by for a barbecue, pull out more pork chops. Let's have pork chops on the barbecue. Or if some of my grown children show up with their families, I'll put on a roast. No problem. It's all in my freezer. I have the potatoes, I have the vegetables, I have the flour, I have the beans, I have the rice. I have it all. It's a very stress-free way of cooking. It's a stress-free way of shopping, and you do save thousands. Now, I was looking up the statistics recently for here in Canada this year, right now, because of course grocery prices have been going crazy everywhere. A family of 4, which they define as 2 adults and 2 children 10 and under, they say in Canada, roughly the average is about $300 a week. I'm feeding 4 adults, which is bumped up to 7 quite often when my daughter and her family come over, or 12 when everyone's here. And I'm doing that on about $150 to $175 a week. And that includes paper products. That's amazing. That's almost half. And yes, over the year I saved thousands, and over the past 30 to 40 years, I've saved tens of thousands. It is a great way to shop. You don't have to depend on the bulk food, on limiting yourself to certain varieties or certain shapes of pasta or even certain kinds of rice. You find what's on sale, you fill your pantry with what you enjoy, the big variety that you want, and then you wake up in the morning, you decide what you're going to cook, and it's all there for you. So there you go. You can save lots of money on your grocery bill without resorting to buying bulk. Because while bulk food buying is a great idea for larger families or in areas where you can't get to the store very often, it's not that it's a bad way to shop, but there are alternatives. There are alternatives if you have a smaller family, if you don't have enough room to store a lot of food, or if you don't have all that money at once, because of course you're paying a huge grocery bill at one time. Maybe that doesn't work for you either. There are still ways to save lots of money on your grocery bill and make your meal planning easier. I hope you found this helpful. Happy shopping. Bye for now.